What's up, guys? This is Dylan.
And I'm Lydia.
We're here for Broken Pictures. Thanks for tuning in. This is our show where we talk about Westworld Season 2. I forgot, check out the website. It's www.broken.pictures.com. And check out what we got going on there. And right now we're getting some new products on there. These are our new shirts. Big thanks to Hometown Press. Check them out, hometownpress.us. They got shirts on there. That's who we're using, who we're getting to make our shirts. So shout out to them. Check us out on social media, and we're on Twitter, we're on Facebook, we're on Instagram, and don't forget, we're also on Patreon now. And some of the levels that you queue into, you can get different rewards, and one of those is a T-shirt. Some of them is this nifty sticker right here, and we've also got magnets now. So we got some stuff. So check us out on Patreon and support us on Patreon. You'll get you a nifty T-shirt or sticker or magnet or whatever. So let's get on with it. This past episode, it just seems like every episode now is just like huge reveals. And this one was completely different than what we've seen. It was like pretty linear, and it stuck with one character almost the whole time, and which is a pretty bold move.
Yeah, I mean, we only jumped to Maeve a couple times.
Mm-hmm.
That was really it.
Yeah.
And she's still tied into the storyline.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, it was pertinent.
Yeah.
You know.
So I've got four big ideas, four big things that stuck out to us or me or whatever. And because she's going to kind of comment on what she sees. And if you don't know, the way we kind of do it, it's like I've got I grew up watching sci-fi and stuff like that, so I might get a little in deep or whatever. And she's kind of coming in from the question angle. She's figuring things out as we go too. So she's going to help those who aren't like in
what he's
deep.
trying to say is, I don't understand the show, so I'm going to ask basic questions.
I was trying to be nice about it, so I'm gonna let you.
I didn't hurt my feelings.
Okay. Yeah. So I mean, so our show it's for everybody. For even if you don't completely understand the show, maybe Lydia's gonna ask some questions that.
If
that
you do
ask.
completely understand the show, please come visit us, because I'm gonna need you to explain a lot about life, just in general, because you must be a super smart person to just like completely understand.
Yeah, come be on our show and explain it to everybody. Yeah.
Then we won't have a job.
Just kidding. So comment below and let us know what you think, and maybe your comment's something that we didn't think about. It's a discussion. It's a conversation. That's the type of show we're doing. It's a conversation. So we're figuring it out together. All right. So first thing is a Kiksuya, or a Kiksuya, or however you say it.
Let's go with a Kiksuya.
Kiksuya seems to be the true catalyst behind Ford's change of heart and the maze continuing on after Arnold's death. Mm-hmm. We see that scene where Kiksuya is basically having the same awakening as Dolores and Maeve, and trying to find his way, and we see that he's basically been left alone on his own, and
for nearly a decade.
Yeah, for nearly a decade. And then Ford he finds Ford. It's hard to say whether Ford set it up as a meeting for him to lure him there, or because Ford is the puppet master and all this stuff.
I feel like he was genuinely kind of surprised, you know.
Yeah, it did seem that way, but he also said that he had been watching him, so he kind of seen a little bit what was going on. He said he was like a flower blooming in the darkness, and so it's kind of like he was the one that convinced Ford that the hosts were alive enough and worth giving a shot at life, rather than just being a tool for us humans. and in his last speech, he talks about at the end of season 1, he talked about someone that kind of caught his eye and changed his mind. And it seems like Akecheta is the one that he's talking about, that they would be a new people, and he would make a way for them.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So so after all that time with Dolores didn't really convince him. But it seems like, I mean, and this is getting like deep into like philosophy and stuff like that, but it's like just people on our own, we seem to find out more about ourselves and discover more about who we are and our purpose and our meaning and stuff when we're left alone, rather than people trying to tell us who we are and what we are, just like Arnold did for Dolores. And he gave her the maze as to kind of try to explain how she could find the path to sentience. But Akecheta found the maze on his own and kind of gave it his own meaning and found his own way. And has in a lot of ways surpassed Dolores and Maeve as far as like meaning and purpose.
I feel like it was with the catalyst of Logan, though, what Logan Dillis was saying. Whatever Logan said kind of made what Akecheta had seen with everything, kind of like it all culminated at that point for him. That was a big turning point for him. And to me, that doesn't necessarily seem like something that Ford wrote into it, you know? Like, he didn't plan for that to happen, you know? I mean, that was all William. That was all the Man in Black, you know? So,
yeah,
putting Logan on the horse and leaving Logan out there. And so, like, to me, Akecheta, I feel like we should be saying Akecheta. I don't know.
I don't know.
I feel really bad. Like,
or we could just say Ake. That's what his
let's just say
lady
A.
called him.
Can we just say A?
I don't know. If you want to.
I'm just going to say A.
Okay.
Actually, I'll probably just pronounce it different every time if that's okay. I forgot what I was.
Yeah, so I mean, it seemed like it was an unforeseen side effect because he had been reprogrammed into the Ghost Nation from his peaceful life with his girl, and it wasn't really the purpose for him to be put on the path for sentience and to become a whole person. But the instance with Logan kind of helped him remember and brought everything back, that this is the wrong world.
Yeah. It's almost like giving them two different storylines is what culminates, you know, like the memories and everything. Like, that's how Maeve, you know, like, that's how they make the connection. And that's how Maeve, like, excelled Lawrence's evil. I don't really know how to phrase that. Based on all of the memories that they give off.
Because she couldn't control him. She convinced him to attack the Man in Black.
Right, exactly, because of all the times that he killed him based on all the memories. And so it's like a catch-22, because if you didn't have the memories the whole time, they would be less human-like. But because you do have the memories, they are more human-like, you know, and they're able to gain their sentience then. Yeah,
and just like us, through our, I mean, it's totally philosophical again, and theologians have been arguing this for a long, long time, but I mean, through our suffering, we become more whole people, and that's kind of the idea behind Broken Pictures. You know, I hadn't really done like an intro video explaining like what Broken Pictures is, but that's kind of the meaning behind Broken Pictures, is through our suffering we become more whole, and it really is, like, even with the hosts, it's their love for each other that really gives them meaning and purpose.
Love is the meaning of life.
Yeah. So I mean that's really the story they're telling, is just the story of humanity and why we are who we are and how we are who we are and just philosophical.
Something that was weird for me to hear. I think we talked about it last week, or maybe we heard another breakdown that mentioned it. But it talked about how Westworld, it was the episode in Shogun World, how all of the parallels and the different characters were so similar and based off of the same thing, just in different worlds. And that's how reality is. I mean, like, we're all living very, very similar lives, whether we know it or realize it.
Or want to admit it.
Yeah, I mean, we're all kind of doing the same thing here. And so it was really weird to hear that. So, I mean, I feel like it all it is really kind of just, sorry, I'm not very articulate tonight, guys, sorry. Kind of just hones in on the philosophical side of it, I guess, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, and I've lived in several different places, and a lot of times I'll see people that remind me of somebody else, and it's just, I mean, and I'll latch onto them because they make me feel like I know them. Yeah. Because I knew somebody like them, and they're, you know, I mean, there's there's subtle differences that make them their own unique person, of course, but
what's super weird
it's crazy
to me,
how, you know.
Yeah. What's super weird to me is, like, I feel like it's like a blip in the matrix, is like when you see someone that you don't know, but you feel like you do know them from, like, where you used to live. So we used to live in a small town called Magnolia, Arkansas. And I will see people here in Northwest Arkansas, and I'm genuinely just like, I know you from Magnolia, but I don't. It's so weird. Not that that's related.
But yeah, I mean, that just speaks to how the storylines cross over and how things are related, even though they're different in their own ways, and it's kind of like real life. But so speaking of storylines, it seems like, I mean, like I said, Akechida is in a lot of ways has taken the same path as Maeve and Dolores, and where he's got the same love for his wife
type thing.
Yeah, his woman. I forget her name.
Lady.
Yeah. Me too. He's got Kohana or something.
Yes.
Yeah, it almost sounds like a Hawaiian name. But he's got the. You alright?
She bit my ear. You try to eat my hair. Quit eating my hair.
Nibbles. Love nibbles. Nibbles, not the other word.
Still, love nibbles is still weird.
Well, I mean, it's the thing. But anyways, so yeah, so I mean, he's got the same type of connection to someone that he's trying to find, that drives him almost to death.
Death.
Yeah. That's true.
Like,
that's
he
true.
Tried to die.
Yeah, because he visited the underworld, you know, and found her.
The only place he hadn't looked was the other side of death.
And so, I mean, he's got the same drive and passion for the person he loves as Maeve does for her daughter. And I mean, he even crossed paths with her daughter, and that's a whole different point we'll get into in a minute. But he also had the point in his life where he was just raging out of control, and he didn't know how to deal with what was going on in him, just like Dolores is now. And but it seems like he's come out on the other side, because when he was faced with the information, when he found his love, and he didn't become angry at that point. It broke him, and then he looked around and realized he even said that it wasn't about him, that this has happened to all these other people. When he saw all
like
the other bodies.
Everyone is mourning someone.
Exactly. And he realized that the life wasn't just about him, that it was much bigger than he was. And so he became connected to this bigger path and this bigger purpose. And really, that's what I think sparked Ford's change of heart, is seeing that he had caught on to something bigger than himself. And so seeing his path and how he's connected to Maeve in certain ways and how he's connected to Dolores in certain ways, can we see where they're going in their futures potentially, in their paths, if they make the right choices? Because that's really what determines what type of person you are, is how you react to different things that happen to you. Not to get too preachy or anything like that, but I mean, this is what we're watching on the show. We're seeing different people go through different circumstances, and they come out different on the other side of it. And they make choices. And Akecheta has made the choice to be a better person and lead the path for other people and bring other people into this greater good. Whereas where Dolores has decided who can go and who could stay, and is judge, jury, and executioner. Yeah. And Maeve is only concerned with her and her love, and basically nobody else. Yeah. But she's on the verge of, and I think now she's crossed over because and this kind of leads into number 2, is that Akecheta was talking to Maeve the entire time. Yeah. And which was a huge reveal, because we know that the daughter, it seems like she had started to gain sentience and started to remember, because he talked to her about how he had met her before. Right. And but then at the same time, it doesn't seem like she could speak Lakota. And he was speaking to her in English, but then even at the very beginning, he started telling her his story in Lakota. Yeah. So it seems like from the very beginning, he was telling Maeve.
I think he was too.
Yeah. So, I mean, he was having basically a three-way conversation between him, Maeve, and her daughter, explaining himself and what had happened and the misunderstanding that had taken place, and showing them the greater path.
I think that I'm curious to know if he was talking to her through his own power, or if Maeve had sparked it. Mm-hmm.
Well, that's what I'm getting into. Number 3, Maeve could be Charlotte's secret weapon, because they realize at the very end when Sizemore brings her in, and then tells the tech, she's different. Just look at her code. She's different. Not only can she speak to other hosts through the matrix, through the network, through the hive mind, or the mesh network as they call it on this show, she can communicate directly to other hosts and speak through other hosts and occupy other hosts, like she was basically occupying her daughter, because he was speaking to her daughter.
And it seemed like she could see him through her daughter's eyes.
Yeah, so she was basically literally like Neo. I mean, she's like another step of Neo here in the Matrix, where she's just basically connected living through, just like Ford was connected to speak to William through the hosts. It seems like Maeve is doing the same thing through her daughter with Akecheta.
So Neo is a fictional character and the main protagonist in the Matrix franchise. He is played by Keanu Reeves. I didn't know kind of the correlation, what he was talking about at first. He said he's like Neo she's like Neo in the Matrix, but Neo in the Matrix is important because he
surpassed the code.
He's not omniscient because that's all-knowing. He's omnipotent, where he's all
he's
seeing.
Omniscient too because he can read the code as it's coming down.
Okay, what about Maeve?
It seems like she's getting there.
Okay, so she seems omnipotent right now, but then she's becoming
Well, she's not.
omniscient.
She's omnipotent is all-powerful. She's not all-powerful.
What's the one with only all-seeing? There's all-seeing, all-knowing, all-powerful.
Mm-hmm. There's omnipotent, omniscient, and omnipresent.
Okay, she's omnipresent.
Yeah.
Okay, so she can see.
Yeah, because she can
through
go.
all things.
Yeah, she can go now. She can go in and out of the network in any host, basically any host that she chooses to, except for those like Lawrence who are
awake.
Who are awake. But her daughter seemed awake too, to a certain degree. So now that it seems like she's more in tune with the network, but the point of number 3 is that she's connected in this greater way, and she's basically got the same powers that Ford has displayed, and so now that Charlotte at the end when the tech brought Charlotte in and showed her this, and they could potentially use this to gain control of the network again.
But how do they control her?
They adapt
keep those plugs in her.
Yeah, adapt her code to go into her code manually and control her, or have just.
But they already tried to do that. Remember Lee? Not Lee, because Lee is Sizemore. Mm-hmm. I keep thinking that Lee and Sizemore are 2 different people. Remember the Asian dude and the redheaded dude?
Yeah, Sylvester.
They tried to do that.
I always forget the other guy. Sylvester.
I looked it up last time. I didn't make it. Anyway.
Yeah. Sylvester's a more memorable name, I guess. It's not Hector. It's something else like that. Anyways, I'm sorry.
Thank you. They already tried to override her code. Remember when she was waking up and he was like trying to get her to stop waking up? When she did, I'm trying to fix her. She keep waking up. Mm-hmm. Trying to fix her. So I don't think that they can override her code.
What? But they're basic text. These are Charlotte, they run Delos. So maybe, at the very least, if they can't control her, they can keep her incapacitated enough to access the same things that she can access, potentially. Because remember last episode, Bernard smashed the system that they were using to tap into the mainframe or whatever. But now they can go in through her. And if they could
Lutz.
No, that's not the other.
Yeah, it is. Lutz.
That's not the other tech. Sylvester
is the redheaded guy, and I'm looking at the dude right here.
What? Lutz. That can't be right. His name is Lutz. I mean, it's got to be his last name.
Duh.
I mean, his first name is what I can't remember.
He doesn't even have a first name.
Yeah, he does. I can't remember it, though. Hold on. Felix Lutz. Sylvester and Felix. That's what it is. I knew it was something quirky like that.
Fix it, Felix?
Yep. So, yeah. he couldn't fix it, though.
Yes, I know my mama.
Get it? So, if they can tap into Maeve and potentially if they can accomplish reprogramming her, then they can use her as a weapon against Dolores. And regain control of the park.
Okay.
Yeah, because right now it seems like everybody is convening towards the door or the valley beyond, or everybody's got different names for it, but it's the same place that William built 30 years ago.
Is it that same thing that A had or had seen in the first?
Yeah. He saw it being built.
Okay.
And then he went back later and it had already been buried.
Right.
So he couldn't find it again when he took his lady back with him. And so he lost it, but he knows about where it is. And that also brings me into number 4, is why did Kiksuya let Grace have William so easily? When she came up, she just basically said, "Oh well, I'm going to torture him worse or punish him worse than you can." And he was like, "Oh, okay, here you go." And it just seemed kind of easy. But right after that, after she left, you okay? Right after she left, he said, "Okay, let's go." So it looks like he's going to follow them to it.
He doesn't know who William is.
Yeah, oh yeah, he does. Remember? Because he said that he had committed all these sins and that he didn't deserve death, because death would be a release for him.
He doesn't know that William made the door.
No, but he does know that William's a big bad. And he knows that they're humans, that they're not hosts.
Yeah, but I mean...
He knows that William is important. So there's also more to do with Grace there too, because all the time that William spent in Westworld, he never even tried to learn the Lakota language, but Grace knows it fluently. So she's got some secrets aside from what we know, and
well, we've been saying that.
Yeah, and when she showed up in Westworld, the guy asked her, what are you doing here? And she said, "Well, I got some time to kill, among other things." So she could potentially be going there to kill William. So one of the theories right now is saying that Grace and William both are trying to lead William to this door.
Grace and William are both trying to lead William to the door?
I'm sorry. Not William.
Shocking.
Grace and Ford are trying to lead William to the door. And the door is actually kind of like the Matrix, only for humans, where they're existing like Ford was in this digital world until their bodies can be made and they're successful with taking their minds and embedding them into host bodies, kind of like they were trying to do with James Delos. And that they're basically selling immortality, and that their minds or their pearls are waiting in this facility for a host body. And but they're existing in this matrix because they can survive in the matrix, just like Ford was surviving in the cradle.
But why are they even trying to give him a body?
Because they don't want to just live. They want to live their lives as normal. They want to be immortal and have a host body.
The difference.
They don't right now, but before they were human, that's what they paid for. I mean, when they were human, before they died, that's what they paid for. Is to be able to transfer their consciousness into a host body and live forever.
This is where I'm going to check out because I don't understand.
Well, I mean,
could
you imagine living in a body that would never decompose and you would just be you for forever and ever?
Yeah, it'd be freaking miserable.
Well, that's how William sees it, which is why Grace says that his punishment will be worse, because if they put William into a host body, then it's everything that he does not want to be. And we even see like part of the teaser for the upcoming episodes where William has the gun to his head. could that potentially, he even said in this episode as well that, I'm not going to die here, not like this, not now. And then Kiksuya found him. So when he gets to the door and realizes what it is or something, maybe he commits suicide or attempts to, and but because he spent so much time in Westworld, they've got his backup already made. And Ford puts him, or his daughter puts him into a host, and he lives out his life just like James Delos, like William left James Delos to rot.
I don't understand.
That's the theory, that's the big reveal coming.
To me, like, the human brain, like, works in a linear direction. Like, this is all like, our little rave going on. That ain't how I see it. So I don't compute with that.
Yeah. And another thing that kind of goes with that is it seems like even though they show it to us one way, then they'll show it to us differently another way, or later on. Like Kiksuya is probably the wolf that we've seen, like that was exploring the aftermath of Arnold's death. We saw Kiksuya going through basically the same situation. So it was just shielded from us. It's almost the same. They're treating us kind of like in season 1 where Bernard saw the photo but didn't register that Arnold was in the photo until Ford told him. So it's kind of like we're having the same experience where we see it, but it doesn't register what it really is until they reveal it to us. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So, another just point hit on was like Logan. It seems like his descent into madness is and what William did to him, putting him out in the sun and all this stuff, is basically what led to his suicide and his drug use and his downfall.
Did Logan commit suicide?
Yeah, remember he overdosed. Or not purposeful suicide maybe, but he OD'd.
Yeah, that's pretty messed up.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what did Logan ever do to you? Like, did you try and kill him or make him go into madness because you wanted to take over the company? But you pretty much did that just proving to Delos that you were a bad A. Mm-hmm. Like, you didn't have to try and drive us some crazy.
Yeah.
Like, that seems a little evil to me. I don't know.
Yeah, he became a person that if you get in his way, you're
but he wasn't
fodder.
in his way. That's what I don't understand.
Yeah, he was, because he was potentially an heir to the company, and he brought him there to just kind of like.
I literally just said, if you were worried about him taking over the company, like, you didn't have to worry about that because you proved to James Delos that you were the one who deserved the company because you're a bad A.
Oh well, I mean, but if those type of people, they don't just. It's not enough. Like, they have to crush you.
To me, and this might be a little far of a stretch, but it made me think of Cain and Abel from the Bible, because there's really no reason to kill him, but because he was jealous and because he had envy in his heart and because he wanted even that little bit of gratitude from his father, he killed him, and then try to, I don't know.
Yeah, and it's the oldest story in the book.
He didn't really kill him, but he brought his demise. I mean, he basically killed him.
Yeah. Yeah, he destroyed him and left him to his own devices. Just enough to be able to say, well, it wasn't my fault, but it was, And we.
It's like another form of a lie.
Yeah, exactly. And another thing this show explores is the use and abuse of power, and this is obviously showing how people who, I mean, cult leaders or people who like the cult of personality or whatever, how they leave a wake of broken people in their path, and basically just shrug it off because it wasn't their fault, even though they treated people and used them up and then just left them.
Not this kind of broken though. This is a pretty broken.
Well, this is the type of broken that you might be if you've been abused or used by one of these people, but you can come out on the other side just like a Kiksuya and become something beautiful and useful. Cool. All right. So, oh my God, the dog just farted. Sorry. So glad you can't smell that right now.
I was about to say, they can smell it.
Whew. Ghost is right under the table. He's got his own little Ghost Nation smell going on. Anyways, that's it for us. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to check out the website. It's www.broken.pictures, no.com. And check us out on social media. We're always posting some great stuff on there. Different pop culture and stuff that we got going on. And it's bad. It's pretty bad. And don't forget that we're on Patreon now. You can subscribe to, or not subscribe, but support us on these different levels and get you some cool swag, t-shirts or stickers and
Please, we should call it like merch instead of swag.
Merch. Because it will be available for sale on the website soon as I can get that up. Might be in this next week. It might be a little bit longer. Just depends on how much time I have. Which is one of the reasons why we need Patreons and patrons to support us and help us do this, so that we're not just doing this in our living room and we can get better equipment and
What's
more
wrong
time.
with our living room?
Nothing, except that it's our living room and not like a certain special place just to do this type of stuff.
Like a studio?
Yeah, like a studio. Like someplace I don't have to tear it up and set it up and tear it down every time, or brush the dog hair off the couch, or that type of
can't
thing.
be choosers.
Oh, I'm not begging.
I'm just kidding.
But if you like what we do and you want to support it, or consider supporting us, there's the option.
Or if you don't like what we do and you wish we would just do it in a better location, you can still support us.
Yeah. So just like anything else, we're offering a service, and yeah.
That's how it works.
Anyways, thanks for tuning in. This is Dylan.
And I'm Lydia.
And we'll see you next time. Peace.